All right, continuing to preview the 2026 NFL season, and now we're going to check in with a Baltimore native, a Calvert Hall alum, and you're going to see him Friday night when they come to town for the Ravens preseason finale. It's Commanders tight end Lawrence Cager. Lawrence, thanks for taking the time, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No problem, no problem. Really appreciate you taking the time. All right, help me out here. Have you ever played at M&T Bank Stadium before?
No, this will be my first time ever, so I'm,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I thought. I wanted to make sure. Yeah, what does that mean to you? I mean, obviously you're from the area. You went to
Right.
Calvert Hall. What does it mean to you to have a chance to finally lace them up and touch the grass at M&T Bank Stadium?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal, like I said, growing up in West Baltimore from Forest Park. My whole family is a diehard Ravens fans. Went to Calvert Hall, went to Miami, and one of my mentors was Ray Lewis, coming out of high school. So, and every obviously both of them guys being Miami alums, and when I committed to Miami, they kind of both took me under their wing. So it's a lot of history between us. Coming out the draft, Ravens were had a couple visits with the Ravens, so it was just, now it's just finally just being able to step foot in that stadium, legendary stadium, and playing the team that you grew up rooting for and going to games. It's just a real moment. For any hometown kid coming to play their hometown, you would love it. And the only other thing that would beat it is playing for them, but unfortunately, you can't do that.
Sure, sure. No, no, I get it. That's great. I mean, you mentioned Calvert Hall. Our studio is actually right across. We're in Towson. We're right across the street from Calvert Hall, so I pass it every day.
Okay.
Do you ever look back on those days you were at Calvert Hall and think about all the work that it's obviously taken for you to get to this point where you're at now?
Yeah, I do. Went to Calvert Hall for all 4 years, so it's definitely just a part of me. And even though my my high school coach is actually coaching for one of the rivals now,
Right.
Donald Davis, he's coaching for Mount St. Joe. I still check in on my team every year, see how the boys are doing. Actually, kind of jealous that now the uniforms will look so good as they do now because back then we kind of had just regular little Nike uniforms, but with their Under Armour deal and uniforms now is good. A couple guys are coming out of there, going to some big schools, getting some big recruits. So it's always good to check up on the guys, look at see how they're doing. And yeah, just being a Cardinal for life.
That's awesome. I love hearing all that. If I have a chance to see any Calvert Hall games, I'll make sure I'll tell Coach that you're jealous of the uniforms now. Um, it's Ravens week, and I get it's just preseason, but you're all competitors.
Right.
Do you look forward to these joint practices? And are you looking forward to any like kind of matchups with the Ravens? I know you guys didn't overlap at Georgia, but Roquan Smith, Malachi Stark from
Right.
the other side. Since they're Bulldogs,
Yep.
do those happen to be guys you're hoping to get an opportunity to face off with?
Yeah, I think joint camp, especially practices, you always look forward to it because they're high competitive practices, and they're as game simulated as you can get, and they always just bring out the competitor in each other for both teams. So definitely looking forward to just competing against another team, practicing against another team, beating up on your guys for a whole month is never fully fun. And yeah, me and Roquan came out the same year. We were in the same recruiting class. Now I started at Miami, then transferred, but we were still close. So always getting to play against him, talk a little mess against him is always good. And I played Kyle Hamilton when he was a freshman,
Oh,
and I
really?
was my last year at Georgia when Notre Dame came to Georgia, and so he was a good player back then. So looking forward to playing against him as
Was
well. And just being in Miami for so long, I know I got a couple relationships with Tyler Huntley and Zay Flowers. So good to see those guys too. So it's gonna be a good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't realize you're really well connected with that Ravens roster. Was
Yeah.
could you tell even as a freshman at Notre Dame that Kyle Hamilton was a bit different? That he was that much of a freak?
Yeah, you definitely could, because I always say he's one of like the few players, like usually on a football field you rarely on the perimeter. D linemen are always huge, but on the perimeter you rarely see anybody that's kind of almost looking eye to eye with me. Me being 6'5", almost 6'6".
Yeah.
when I seen him on the field and playing safety and being able to cover, being able to play in the box, move him around, and playing with confidence as a freshman, it definitely stands out to you on the offensive side and somebody you just got to keep your eye on, even though he's a freshman. So no surprise he turned out to the player that he's turned out to be.
You mentioned talking smack with Roquan? Is that something that's part of your game? Do you talk a lot when you're on the field? Or I mean, obviously it's 6'5".
Yeah, it's 100% something that's part of my game. I feel like anybody that's
Awesome.
played against me or played with me will tell you that. And Roquan talks a lot of stuff too, so that's my boy. He knows we know how to go back and forth, but keep it competitive. Um, and yeah, just can't wait to see him. You know, we went to we were fun fact we were at the Nike Open in high school. We were on the same team, and then and then just a lot of the All American games and stuff going into high school, going into college. So me and him been playing it for a long, long time.
That's really cool. That's really cool. That's really cool, Lawrence. We're chatting with Lawrence Cager, Commanders tight end. You mentioned, I mean, you talk about the smack talk. Is that you think does that have anything to do with your Baltimore roots? You know, obviously you're a Baltimore guy. You think it's we wear the city on our chests, right?
Right. Yeah. 400%. I feel like any player that comes to Baltimore has that in them. Just born and raised in Baltimore is just something different. You know what I mean? It's just how you're raised, how you brought up in, and you don't think twice about it. It's just natural. You're a natural competitor. You're a natural stand on where you're from. So yeah, for sure. And just being especially from the inner city, this is what you're raised on. Especially playing AAU basketball. You know, we're a basketball city, and
Right.
Just going through the gauntlet with that it only helped. So 100%, just because of who I am and then where I was raised.
Love it, love it. I know you've had to work really hard for every opportunity to stick around in this league. What have you learned about yourself throughout your career, and what has allowed you to keep pushing, obviously?
Yeah, I feel like the one thing I learned about myself is just my determination and my perseverance. Before coming into college, I never had any injury in my life. And coming to college, I had two major ones with my sophomore year. Going into my sophomore American season, I tore my ACL, and then going into the draft year, right before the SEC championship at Georgia, I broke my ankle right into the draft. So going through both of those traumatic injuries and still being here where I'm at, going into year 6 in the NFL is a blessing. Not a lot of people make it to this year, so I never take that for granted, and I just thank God for giving me the strength and the willpower to continue every day my process, and knowing that I'm the player that I am, and the work that I put in every single day and in the off season, not just during the season, to give me the confidence to go out and play at a high level, whether it's a practice or a game.
I appreciate that perspective. That's really great to hear you talk about it like that. It's unfortunately been a minute since we last caught up, Lawrence. The last time I think we had you on was you were a New York Jet and you were teammates with Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I know he's someone that you've looked up to. Obviously, you've grown up a Ravens fan.
Yeah.
What did it mean to you to share a locker room with Joe?
Yeah. Sharing a locker room with Joe was everything. It was surreal, honestly. And I told him the first thing that I told him when I seen him, I was like, "Look, Joe, I just want to get this out the way. I have a Flacco jersey, an old Flacco jersey. I'm gonna bring it in tomorrow. I just need you to sign it just to get it out the way. Let's get it out the way early because you don't know how much you mean to the city. Bringing a Super Bowl here and being a quarterback and the run that you had and just growing up and watching that. And I told him I remember watching the Super Bowl against the 49ers in my own bed. And when the lights went out, and I was just like, this is amazing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
just growing up, I'm not really one of the fanboys, but it's just one of those, like one of my surreal moments where it's just like, yo, I'm catching passes from a guy that I used to watch literally as a kid. So it's like, how can you not just, show him give him his flowers and pay the respect and love that, he deserves. And I feel like a lot of people don't really give it to him. I mean, to still be his age right now and still playing at the high level that he is, and no matter what team it calls him up immediately, and he performs immediately given the system, and even if it's a new system, speaks volumes to his character and his preparation and his talent. Still, the age he is, and it's always good to see him anytime I get to see him.
That's awesome. That is a tremendous story. I love it. Do you still you I assume you obviously still have that jersey. You have it like hanging up somewhere. You have it like framed.
No, so my cousin is like the real diehard Ravens fan, so I got
Gotcha.
a sign and I
Okay.
gave it to him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I wanted to ask because obviously I don't know. Did you see any of that quarterback series? Obviously Joe was featured on it, and the big the that most viral clip was probably him pulling out his Super Bowl MVP trophy and it had dust on it. So it was, that's just and him just him
Yeah, I
his Super
see.
Bowl ring. Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. I really watched it, especially for Joe and especially for Jayden.
right. Of course.
I made a couple cameos in there for myself, so just seeing him and love seeing the quarterback's process all over the league. Like even last year's, I think the year before, Kirk Cousins was there. It's
Hmm.
entertaining just to get the view of a perspective of a quarterback. You know, they weigh a lot on their shoulders. They lead every they're expected to lead in every single aspect, not just on the field but off the field. So it's always great to see them.
No doubt, no doubt. You mentioned Jayden, obviously. What's it like being teammates with him? Since we're talking about the quarterback, so I mean, he obviously had a bit of a tough year. You dealing with injuries.
Hmm.
What's it been like? Watching him, try to play through what he went through last season, and now seeing him this year. What should we expect from him
Yeah,
in 2026?
I think you're gonna get a great year from him. He's a highly detailed person. Um, he's all about the details. He's all about the process. You know, he doesn't skip 1 second of the process of being great, of coming to being a leader of our team. And some things that just happen. Unfortunately, you go through your story. You know, everybody wants a perfect life, but you're not going to get it. But one thing that sticks out to him again is just willpower and his perseverance. And his willpower and his perseverance, and he's one of the strongest people mentally that I've seen and been around, and that's why it's good to call him a friend, and just to see him go through every day and go through life with a strong mind and a strong heart is great, and it's one of his qualities why everybody loves him, everybody gravitates to him, and why he's our leader.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. That's really cool to hear all that. Chatting with Lawrence Cager, just another minute or two here on GCR, Calvert Hall alumni, Baltimore native. Lawrence, what have you been up to? How was your off season? Did you do any traveling? What does your off season typically look like?
Yeah, I went a couple places. I usually take like a month to just decompress, relax, get my mind off of football. Uh, I went to the DR just to spend some
Nice.
time, and then after that, and I went to Brazil. I went to Brazil down after OTAs for the World Cup. Well, while the
Oh
World Cup was
wow,
going on, I got to be down there when they won one of their round of 32 game, I think. Whatever placement game they won, the first one, and
gotcha.
just to see the whole country lit up for the game was just incredible, and see how passionate they are about football is amazing.
All right,
And then outside of that, just training every day, getting ready for the season. I love the process of just going out and getting better every day. You know, I don't like to take too much time off. I like to keep my body in shape and get ready for the season, especially, having a couple of injuries in the past. Just make sure my body is right, aligned, make sure I'm ready, prepared to go through a war of an 18 game season.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, okay, so since you brought it up, crazier fans, Bulldog fans or Brazil, national soccer team fans? Which fans do you think
Oh,
go
Brazil
harder?
national soccer team,
They go harder?
100%.
Okay,
100%. Oh, 100%.
gotcha.
100. Now, I love my Bulldogs. You know, we are crazy. But I've never seen anything like national, like club fans of national teams. Just seeing that in perspective was insane. It was insane.
I can only imagine. That sounds like an awesome experience, man. Lawrence, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. Wishing you the best of luck this season, and obviously stay healthy. And looking forward to seeing you. We can. It's a preseason game, so we can actually root for you a little bit on Friday night. All right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. I appreciate you.